lost you. I don't hear you anymore. Did you change something? Audio wise? It got blank. Nope, don't hear you. If you're talking, I don't hear you. Let me see if I can hear it on my phone. If you're talking, I don't hear you. Talk again. Let me see if I can hear it on my phone. No, see, I don't hear you. Talk again. Let me see if I can hear it on my phone. No, see, I don't hear you. I don't hear you, Trinity. No, see, I don't hear you. Well, Trinity's. Oh, there he goes. He was suffering technical difficulties. What was that?
I have no idea, man. It said it was unplugged, even though it wasn't.
Let's do an unplugged version of us.
There you go. All right. Well,
break out my guitar.
The good news is, once this actually gets posted, all that will be cut out. It's like it never happened.
Perfect. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So, did you share and everything?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. Hello, everybody. This is Louis Delgado, the street certified dope doctor Louis Delgado from Dope and Dharma. And this is the Couch Live edition of Dope and Dharma here with you on a beautiful, beautiful Monday. God, it feels good out there, Trinity. That's my partner, the Dharma guy, Trinity Phillips. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Dude, I'm just loving it. I know it looks like I'm cold only because I'm cold in my house, but it's warm outside. It's 80 degrees outside. It's beautiful outside.
Well, beautiful is a subjective word, I guess.
But it's like I'm having it freezing in here or something like that. I got this old man freezer going on. So I'm cold in my house, but I'm warm when I go outside the house. You know how it is, Trinity. Well, you don't know how it is.
I don't actually know.
But through my sharing with you, you should know how it is.
Sure.
But anyway, so this is the Couch Live edition of Dope and Dharma, Trinity. You know what that means. That means we're going to talk addiction and recovery and all stuff like that on today's show. Tell everybody what stations we're on, where we're at, how they can join in, be part of it, all that deal.
If they're local, they can check us out on WOKB 1680 AM or 100.7 FM. If you're not local or in the Central Florida area, that you can always check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch live streaming under Dope and Dharma, or on any of your major podcasting platforms also under Dope and Dharma.
Right. And being that this is at least it's my favorite time of the year. I don't know about you, but October to me is the month. I mean, it really is. I mean, really.
I wonder why.
I mean, really, is there a better month, Trinity? I mean,
do you have a particular day in October, like maybe the 16th or something?
16th? Okay. Yeah. I'm a little biased. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little biased.
Sure.
Not that there wasn't always some bad days in October, because there's been some really bad days in October, which led to the best days in October.
Sure.
But October 16th is always a beautiful day, and I love it. So yeah, I'm older, Trinity.
I would say from a hurricane perspective, October is our worst month, but
no, it's September. September is usually worse, right?
October
is it really?
Yeah.
All right. But as far as like sports, I mean, really, can you get any better as far as sports in October? You got college football, you got pro football, you got World Series, you got, you know what? Hey, Sports Center, I can't believe you're still talking about basketball. Is Sports Center just like addicted to basketball and can't talk about anything else other than basketball? I mean, they really do love basketball.
I got to be honest with you. I haven't even been watching Sports Center.
Because
I don't remember last. Yeah, I don't remember.
Because it's like Sports Center must be owned by the NBA and WNBA. I mean,
maybe.
That's all they talk about. That's all they want to talk about. We got the best sport going on right now in football, and they still talk more about WNBA and NBA.
WNBA?
Oh, yeah. I guess they just had a championship.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah. Liberty won the championship. Congratulations, the ladies of Liberty.
Is that where are they from? Where's Liberty?
I think
from?
New York. Is it New York?
That makes sense. Statue of Liberty.
Don't ask me. I'm not a...
Dude, I don't know any. All I know is some chick named Caitlin was pissing everybody off,
and she's fantastic. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But you know what? That's not football, And if we were talking sports, we'd be talking football. But
Yeah.
but the reason we're calling it the season today on this show is because you know how people they tend to talk about segments of their life or periods of their life in seasons, much like there's seasons in the world. And so whether it be a relationship, that's a particular season, whether it's a growth period, that's a particular season, whatever. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about this being the season for you, whatever that means to you, listener out there. Because I don't know what people are going through, but it doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be just you're just bored with where your life is right now and you want to make some changes. Whatever, season you're in and trying to get to is kind of what I just want to have a discussion with you today about that, Trinity, to be honest with you.
Sure.
'Cause, again,
Um,
being October, the best part of the year. I mean, if you're going to make a change, I can't think of a better month.
yeah, yeah. Well, my daughter just had her quinceañera a couple days ago.
There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Yeah, she had
My
a good
God, she
time.
looks sold. She looks sold.
I know, dude.
So grown.
I know. She definitely does not look like my little 15-year-old girl, even though 15
No.
is old to me, but whatever.
15 years old to you?
Yeah, man. I'm used to like my little baby, my 2-year-old. So it's like crazy to see her at 15, like she's trying to drive and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she had her quinceañera, so obviously she's born in October, so she's a big fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, 2 days, 3 days after? No, 2 days after yours.
Uh-huh.
My mom is 1 day after yours. So
Yeah.
literally within like 2 days, you got her birthday, my mom's birthday, and her brother's birthday.
The most balanced people on earth, Trinity. Most balanced people on earth.
Okay.
And we balance out the sports world. When football season hits, it kind of just like reminds everybody that thinks, oh, this sport, and then football season hits, and then you see what real fandom is like, and what real
Sure.
it literally shuts down the day. You know what I mean? I look, I'm not gonna say it tops God. I know those of you that go to church on Sundays. I'm not trying to say it tops God, but it's either church and football. That's like number 2 is church and then football. That's why college football doesn't even have a competition on Saturdays.
Yeah.
It just
yeah.
is. So.
But yeah, I think early when you said seasons, I guess it didn't register, but because I think I've always heard them referred to as chapters. That was a chapter of my life. Yeah.
That too.
But
some people call it chapters. I call it chapters.
sure.
But I know even my daughter, one of them, when she speaks, she'll say a season, and I'll be like,
Sure.
all right, if someone needs a reason, tis the season to you. Then here it is.
There you go.
All right, so let's talk about it. So first of all, Trinity, have you noticed that many people just look for like a sign? Like they're not saying, hey. Like I've done that. I don't know if you've ever done that when you were a kid. Oh, send me a sign. When I was a little kid, I remember doing that. Make the shutters move. But
Sure.
we're always looking for some sort of symbolic thing to occur that can somehow encourage us. Right? Tell me if you can relate to this. Encourage you to make the decision you know that you should do. I should start working out. I should start eating better. I should end this relationship, whatever you're currently going through out there. But for whatever and for some of you, I should actually give a ring to this relationship, because some of you just like in a relationship, it's like you're just waiting for something to happen to finally buy her a ring. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. But so we're always waiting for something big and magical to occur, right?
Right.
But what if you're really looking for an excuse not to move? What if what you're really doing is just you're setting the expectations so dramatic, you're putting it on dramatic, so you have an excuse to just not do a thing. And here you are now, and it's 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more realistic, right? I mean, yes, I think most people are trying to, what is it, homeostasis? They're trying to just stay wherever they're at. And then, yes, if some act of God happens, so then obviously I need to change. But even then, I've heard people, make these weird revelations of like, if I had a sign and then said thing happens, and yet they still find the reason to not do it.
Right.
I mean, how many people I'm guilty of when I was a little kid, when back when I believed in God, I was like, oh, if you do this, if this works out in my favor, then I'll never do such and such. Yeah, okay. And then after whatever thing happens, if it did happen in my favor, instead of sticking to that whatever weird promise that I just made to myself, no, I still did whatever I was going to do anyway. So yeah, I think that's more closely resembling what happens. I think people are just looking for a reason to stay on the same path.
Yeah, and time kind of goes by anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
can you believe it's already been like 4 years since like the whole COVID thing happened?
No, I can't. No, it feels
I
like
mean,
it just happened.
just put that in perspective for a second. 4 years ago, it was happening.
Yeah.
4 years ago, Trinity. I mean, when I think about that, I'm like, wait a minute, that is so insane to me how fast these 4 years have gone.
Yeah.
Because it feels like we're still talking about, hey, go get your booster. Hey, did you get your shot? It's like people are still trying to hustle a shot to me. Still trying to get me to go take some sort of vaccine.
Right.
When it's like, brother, I mean, can you just lay off of that already? I mean, are we done? I mean, isn't it like COVID 55 by now? I mean, if you're getting COVID right now, you probably have like COVID 55. It's not COVID 19.
Well, I mean, my wife and I think not my kids, but I think their mother, both of them, the family, actually got COVID not too long
Yes.
ago, a few months ago, and nobody cared. They weren't even told not to go to school.
Because it's just like the flu now.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah,
But it's changed our language. Like,
yeah,
I think we forget that the flu is a COVID.
yeah,
It is a COVID. Only we got stuck with using the word COVID to the point where now we call everything COVID.
yeah. No, we
I
definitely
don't
lost our
get it.
collective minds during that time frame.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Now we're
let's
losing
talk
our
about
minds
the
for other stuff.
habits and behaviors that some of us began to be a little heavier 4 years ago. And you haven't stopped it. Like when you had that behavior during COVID, like, look, dude, nobody cared. You were hidden away in your house. You couldn't do much. So like nobody really cared. Like some of you were day drinking like during work hours. Just you put it down for the Zoom. Look, we started doing the show from home. We literally, I don't even think we've been to the radio station since COVID.
No.
That
Yeah.
that shows us how long it's been. Trinity, you and I have not driven to the radio station to do this show since like COVID.
Yeah. Either one. Like,
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, the studio out in Smyrna or even WKB.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, because it literally changed our lives. It says, oh, you can send us your show from home. Oh, wait a minute. So I don't have to pay those outrageous gas prices, and I can just be in the comfort of my home. Well, then, what do you think? What do you think we were supposed to do? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if Shaw's going. Shaw, are you going to the studio? This is a question for Shaw, our producer. Is he still going to the studio, or is he doing it from home?
I think he is actually, because I think what he does requires a little bit more hands-on. But yeah, I think he does still.
Yeah. He probably likes getting away for a little bit. It is a cool vibe to be at the studio. I gotta admit, I like being in the studio, but I got a studio here in the house, so I'm in my vibe. Built the studio here in my house. I'm able to be in my vibe and my energy here. So what do I care?
Yeah,
But the
pretty
point
much.
is that time's gonna fly by anyway, people. I mean, look. So when you think, oh, that's gonna take a long time, like whether it be law school, medical school, college, whatever it is, sometimes you look at time and you go, oh my God, that's gonna take so long, and then you look back and you do realize you just did a bachelor's degree since COVID. I mean, you literally could have got your bachelor's degree since COVID. It's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything that you've been putting off, if you would just chip at it, you'd be there. Here's another thing. You're a muscular guy, Trinity. You don't get that overnight. You don't build that kind of muscle overnight. You don't, what are you, like 24-inch pythons right there, 24-inch arms, something like that, some insane Hulk Hogan type arms. So you didn't get there overnight. I mean, it took, you had to lift when your arm was normal size for it to become abnormal size after a while. So if some of us would just put a little of that kind of persistent energy down, we would get to that point that we were seeking. But we love this immediate gratification thing, Trinity. We love it like now. We all want it right now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, how many? I don't know. I mean, we obviously, I don't know how many of the listeners are old enough, but you and I are obviously old enough to remember
There's a lot of
no
older
internet.
listeners. There's a lot of older
Yeah.
listeners.
Well, I remember no internet, right? And then I remember when internet first hit, when we had the dial up.
Right.
And it would sometimes take, 20, 30 minutes for like a website to even load up. And now we get upset when it takes more than 3 seconds, right? Like if we pull out our phone, we go to a website and it doesn't
Yeah.
come up immediately. You're like, why is this taking so long? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're used to immediate gratification. We have instant coffee now. We have, movies on demand. Like I remember the days back in the day when like you had to wait for your television show to come on at a certain day at a certain time, and like it didn't wait for you either, man. So you had to be home at a certain point if you want to watch it from the very beginning.
Right.
And if you missed it, oh well, you either taped it or you had to wait for a rerun to come along. So like nowadays it's just I want to watch. Nowadays we don't even have to wait week to week, man. Like
No,
I've
you
become such a TV
binge it.
snob. Yeah, I don't even watch it week to week anymore. I wait until it piles up and then I'll watch
Right.
all 10 seasons, all
Yes.
10 episodes because
Yes.
yeah, I can't remember what happened like week to week sometimes.
I don't want to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean we're very much instant gratification these days, and the problem is that works when it comes to TV, movies, things of that nature. Not so much when it comes to life goals.
Yeah.
Life goals tend to take a little bit longer.
Yeah. So, people, what season of life are you really in right now? I mean, if you had to describe this season, what season of life are you in, and have you been in it longer than you intended to be? Because if you're going to use the word season, shouldn't it just last a season? I mean, shouldn't it just last a short period of time? I mean, like you said, chapter earlier, it's not the whole book; it's a chapter of the book.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us have been doing the same maladaptive behaviors for so long. It's literally volumes of episodes, seasons, seasons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Instead of just one season. It's like, really? I mean, if you're watching a show with your life in it and you were like making these promises of how you were going to be different, and here you are 3 years later and the show is still doing the same. I mean, are you going to keep watching that show? I mean, put it this way, some of us are just sick and tired of watching your show, people. I mean, we've seen you promise that you're going to be different in the next episode, in the next season. We keep watching, that season opener and like being excited for you. That season opener, he or she's motivated. It's going to be different. And then at the end of the season, it's another arrest, another problem, another, fight, another issue. And it's like, oh, same ending. All right, let's see what the next season brings. And then next season, hopeful. And then the end of the season end, oh, another problem, another. It's like repetitive. Like, how many seasons is that show really going to live and exist? And some of you are actually experiencing that. You're actually living that over and over again. And the whole time, not feeling responsible for it at all. Not taking any responsibility of it at all. Forgetting that it's a choice to begin with. It's a choice to begin with. I mean, if you want to make a choice to stay in your situation, then that's a choice. And that's fine. We're okay with that. It's but when we get invested in you and we're so hopeful for you and we're writing it with you, we kind of, you had us waiting for that next episode, and then it's like it's the same ending. It's the same ending.
Yeah, well, I think another problem there, and it's somewhat related, I guess, in the sense that I think oftentimes people think that they want stuff that they don't really want.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds good to say I want such and such, and like you have this goal,
Mm-hmm.
but in all reality, like, do you really want it?
Right.
And I think oftentimes they don't. I think they say it because it sounds good to say. Maybe it makes their family happy to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it feels like just like the right thing to say or do.
Right.
But in their heart of hearts, they're just not really interested in it. And I think that you got to be honest with yourself, right? Like you got to step back and really kind of look at your expectations or your goals. Like, are they really yours? Do you really want them?
Huh.
And if you think that you do, then yeah, you're gonna have to figure out why you're still stuck in the same season because something's holding you back.
And sometimes what's holding you back, Trinity, is that you think that you know the path. Well, if you've never traveled down the path before, then what makes you think you know the path? I mean, seriously. I use navigation. I don't know about you. I use navigation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Waze tells me how to get there. I don't tell Waze how I get there. Waze tells me how to get there.
Sure.
Because the only time that I don't need Waze is if I've already been there before. And even then, There may be a traffic incident or something ahead that
Sure.
I didn't know about, but Waze says, wait a minute, you may not want to go that way today. I know it worked yesterday, but today that bridge is blocked by a traffic accident, so you may want to take a detour.
Right.
I didn't do that. You know, I like what Jose Burgos right there says. Jose on Facebook Live. What's he saying there, Trini?
Yeah, he says restructuring. I'm 50, got a new career, got a new routine of life.
Right on.
Now I need to make it. The season changes like a tree. Every season that grows till it bears fruit. Great subject, season of life.
Amen to that. See, he's embracing it. He's embracing his new season. You know,
Well, that's the other thing he said too at 50, because I think another misnomer that people get caught up in is I'm just too old. Which is just, I mean, unless you're pushing 100, obviously I think I would grant you at that point, maybe it might be a little old at 100. I don't know. But 50 is not old, right? But you'll have people in their like 30s saying they're too old to make any real changes. And it's like, dude, come on. That's not really an excuse, right? Because depending on what it is that you're trying to do, right? Now, if your goal is to, we were talking about sports earlier, if you're like 40 years old and your goal is to start playing in the NFL, yeah, it's probably too late for you. You might have missed that on the boat on that one. But I don't think that's the goal most people have. Most people have goals of changing a career, changing a lifestyle, making better choices, and you're not really too old to do those. I mean, those can be done in any moment.
Yeah, and there really is so many changes you can make. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever done this, Trinity? Like you're kind of just sitting there and you start thinking that, all right, every year that goes by, it feels like there's certain choices that because I didn't make them, now if I wanted to do that now, it's the likelihood of that happening is nil. You know what I mean?
Right.
For instance, walking the Appalachian Trail. Like I like doing parts of it. I like hiking. I like hiking parts of it. But
Good luck
especially,
now.
yeah, if I wouldn't have had the surgery that I had and had the things happen to my physical body like it has happened, I would probably still think that I could probably do it. But now after this, I'm like, I wouldn't want to. I probably could do it in small. I wouldn't want to endure in practice for the pain to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I wasn't even
that's
talking about the physical body. I was talking about, like, is it even there anymore?
With Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, man.
What do you
the
mean?
Carolinas is destroyed, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, have you seen that?
You took it to another level. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess
Like,
that is pretty bad.
So it's just for certain places, it's just gone now.
You're right, because there is one spot that I've walked. I think it was North Carolina where you got to cross this river, and like it's right on this bank. Yeah, that river probably flooded. You're right. That's probably not that little piece that I walked. Probably is not even there right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come back. Somebody has to repaint the little thing. But there's things that just like you're not doing that. You're not doing it. And I find myself there's places like I used to like traveling. I really did. I used to like travel. I still like traveling a little bit. I found myself really enjoying domestic travel more than international travel, though, for some weird reason. I know most people, they want to go to the international. I like seeing all the parts of America, to be honest. I like just meeting more of us and just kind of being like, we all come from these different places. And if you really explore people around you, like, wow, how did you end up here? Like, what brought you to Indiana? You know, you're like, so I kind of like that kind of stuff. But what I'm saying is I find myself less and less wanting to go farther. Because now I measure everything as an older man. I measure everything in bathrooms and restaurants and beds. Right? So I measure, there's some of you listening right now that you're from another country, and God bless you. My family's from other countries too. I'm a first generation born here. But I still measure even my countries of origin in those same thing. Restaurants, beds, and food. I mean, I already said in bathrooms. Those two things. And so that's how I look at countries. I don't look at countries like by pictures. You know how they show beautiful pictures?
Sure.
When I see the beautiful picture, I say, yeah, that's great. I thank you for taking that picture at that beautiful place. But what's your restaurants? What restaurant? Oh, look at these beautiful. Oh, okay. What are the bathrooms like? This is a bathroom. Okay. Where am I sleeping? And it always comes down to like a Marriott or something like that, right? If I really like it, like it comes down to like a resort. So if there's a resort there, I have no problem going. None. Right. And then like as a day trip, going and looking at the rest and then coming right back to my resort. Right?
Sure.
But to drop me off somewhere, hiking, like live in a tent or like in a hostel, yeah, that's not me in my 50s, man. 20s maybe.
I'd have to agree with that.
But
Yeah.
I'm not staying in hostels and walking around meeting strangers and sleeping in strangers' houses or sleeping under trees. Now it's not happening.
No, I agree with that.
And I'm definitely not hunting for my own food. I'm not eating grubs, and I'm not, trying to catch little animals. And no. When there's great restaurants out there, and no, and the resort always has the same food, no matter where you're at. You can always get a steak. You can always get a ribeye.
Sure.
There's always a
Sure.
fish choice. There's always a chicken choice. Right? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. So there's things when you say these seasons that you pick in your life to change. I mean, there's certain standards that you're going to be limited, and that includes, like, if it's sobriety, there's going to come a point where you're like, I'm never going to be sober. If you're just not there, you're just not going to comprehend it. And by the time you make the choice, you might have some physical problems due to your using that you're never going to come back from. And I hope that's not the case, because I'd like to believe that even at, like you said, 100. Let's say, what, isn't Jimmy Carter pushing 100? Let's say Jimmy Carter wanted to stop being a nice guy. I feel like that at 100, he could say, I'm going to say F you to somebody.
Yeah, I guess
he should be allowed to do that.
Sure.
I think that no matter at what age, as a matter of fact, at 100, I guarantee there's more people that are going to do that. I mean,
yeah, I can see myself being crotchety when
oh,
I'm
yeah.
100 years old.
I started off crotchety, so I'm pretty sure that,
I mean, at that point, you kind of deserve it.
You do deserve it, and you should be allowed to do it. But the point is that whatever you're experiencing, it's like the longer you wait, it's only in your mind that says it's impossible or harder to get or obtain. It's only your mind, because if you're going to live anyway, you're just going to live another 3 or 4 years and say, I wish I should have, could have, would have. And how many times in your life have you said that in the first place? I mean, just think about the numerous amount of times you said, I wish I should have, could have, would
have.
Yeah. I mean, some of you, look, I hear, have you had this happen to you, Trinity, on Facebook? Have you seen, like, people that you knew back from high school that have gone through a relationship, they're divorced, and now they're with someone else from your high school? And you're like, how'd those two end up together? Those two, I knew them both in high school, but they were like, they went and got married to separate people. But for some reason, they must have shared an emotion somewhere that it was similar on Facebook and social media, and now they both ended up together.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one yet, but
I have multiple people that I've known, multiple couples that weren't couples in high school. They weren't, and all of a sudden now I'm seeing them and they're in a relationship, and I'm like, did social media did that? You guys got to send Zuckerberg like a card or an invitation. You should thank him for that. Sure. Because you would have thought that ship sailed. Like if you were like infatuated with someone in high school, like, oh, now I'm 50 and I'm alone and I'm gonna want to be with you. Like,
yeah, I mean, age does weird things to people, though.
So if there's some of you experiencing stuff like that, well, then, go for it. Whatever you got to do, whatever you want to do. Whatever you're currently doing, if you're lonely, then what is making you so lonely? What is it you're not doing? I know you're probably saying, like, where am I supposed to meet someone? I've already, it's always this town. If you notice, people go, oh, the people around here, the men around here, the women around here, the places here, they always blaming the situation. No. If you're here and you're a good person, what makes you think there's not one other one? Like when people say everybody lies around here, well, you're here. So is that you? Are you including you? Or are you saying you are the only person in your vicinity that's a good, honest person, and everyone else in this vicinity is not?
Well, I think in those terms, I think that would be expectations for a lot of people. I think a lot of people might have Toyota money, but they're shopping for Lamborghinis. Just saying.
Have you tried to buy a Toyota lately, Trinity?
It's still cheaper than a Lamborghini.
Maybe after November it'll be cheaper.
I'm not touching that one.
I'm just messing with you. I have no clue. We got to do a political show soon.
I already voted, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, I voted last week.
I told you I'm allowing both candidates to try to sell me on why they vote for them. But this isn't our political show, so I'm not going to go there yet.
Sure.
I'm truly trying to stay open-minded. As ridiculous as that can be some days, I'm still trying. I'm very open-minded.
Sure.
Trying to be as open-minded as possible. But anyway, and look at that. That's already like around the corner.
That's like 14 days away.
It felt like forever ago.
It's literally like 2 weeks away.
I can't believe that 4 years ago we were saying you guys seriously voted for that dude is not going to make 4 years. I literally thought that. I was like, oh my God.
Well, he didn't make 4 years, but yeah, I hear you.
Well, I mean, he did. I mean, he did. I
Yeah.
mean,
Depends how you define that, but go ahead.
it's been a hard 4 years for me too. To be honest, it's been a hard 4 years for me
It's been
too.
hard 4 years for everybody.
I'm not as my mental acuity is not the same as it was 4 years ago either.
Sure.
Which is why I was saying I can't believe you guys did that. But okay, here we are again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The point is, right now, think of that. What were you doing 4 years ago during that election cycle? Were you drinking to the point where you says, "Oh man, I'll quit after this is over, or I'll cut down, or I'll start exercising. I'm going to start eating better. I'm not going to buy those Krispy Kreme donuts. And if you do, make sure to use the Now Matters More Foundation route to get them because we're in a contest all the way through October. It helps. It helps give them money. It's like, what did you tell yourself 4 years ago that you're not doing right now? And there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally there's a lot of life has gone on, and in that 4 years that you've done nothing, that you've made no changes, somebody else around you did it. Somebody literally started working out 4 years ago and they look amazing today. Somebody made some major changes in their life and they look amazing. Janet from Orange County.
Yeah.
Have you seen Janet?
Yeah, man. I saw her at the Live Fest.
Seriously, let's
Yeah,
applaud
man.
that. I mean, are you serious? She didn't look bad then. But whatever changes she felt she had to make for herself, she is so much more fit and thin, and she's like so happy, like she's radiant. And that's like you've done something
Yeah.
because you obviously are very happy with some changes that you made, and dramatic changes in her face and the way she talks,
Yeah.
and in her energy level. It's amazing.
Well, I think I think one of the problems that people run into is they're looking at the whole goal as the like the destination as far as the journey instead of the journey, right?
Yeah.
What I mean by that is what I would have clients back in the day that needed to lose, like, let's say a significant amount of weight, let's say 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Hearing I got to lose 100 pounds just sounds so daunting,
Ooh,
so
yeah.
overwhelming. So,
Right.
like, especially if you struggled your whole life to even keep 10 pounds off, the notion of losing 100 just seems like it's just never going to happen. Same thing with clean sober, right? If you haven't been clean sober for 10 years,
Right.
the idea of being clean sober for 10, 15 years sounds like
No.
it's just never going to happen. And when you look at it that way, you're probably right because you can't do 10 years tomorrow. So what I've noticed that works, even for myself, right? When I made any major changes in my life, like, years ago, I had a federal job and I wanted to leave there and start my own company.
Yeah.
The idea of just starting something and living off of that tomorrow just sounded daunting.
Yeah.
But what I did then, and it has worked for me and works for many other people, is just do something every day. Something, anything. It doesn't matter how big, how small, something related to that goal, whatever it might be, every day. And if you do that for every day, 4 years later, you have now 4 years of doing stuff
Right.
to get you closer to that.
Right.
Will you accomplish said goal in those however many days? I don't know, but you'll be a hell of a lot closer than if you didn't start
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
And I think that that's the problem, is just we look at the end product as opposed to the journey. What is that old adage? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is we get so fixated on the end goal, that instant gratification. Like, I'm not going to achieve X by tomorrow, and it's so big and so. Well, yeah, with that mindset, you're defeating yourself before you even get started. But if you start today and just do something, anything, no matter how little it is, that creates momentum. And then tomorrow you do another thing and another thing and another thing. A week goes by, then all of a sudden it becomes part of your routine, part of your habit. And then those things that you did will inevitably lead to other things. And it's just how, the law of momentum works, basically. Eventually it'll just start to become easy, and then, it'll take care of itself at some point.
Yeah, some of us, it's that elephant that we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
that's how I got here. I did a little bit, did a little bit, did a little bit, and here you are, 30 years later. And you're like, oh man, I got to get rid of all this now. Well, you took 30 years to get here, bro.
Yeah.
You took 30 or 40 years to get here, so don't think that you're gonna lose the whole elephant that you ate today.
Yep.
So now you got to purge the elephant, and you can't just purge the elephant in overnight.
Nope.
That's part of the problem, Trinity, is we get so stuck in our expectations, like you said. You know,
Oh yeah,
and rightly so. I mean, we want, right?
of
We
course,
want,
of
and
course.
but look, if you just start washing your clothes right now, like if you wait till all your clothes is piled up, it is harder to wash. I hate, like, if I wait too long to do my laundry, I don't even want to start, because it's like I already started envisioning that's a lot of loads, right?
I
So
guess.
I'm the laundry guy. I'm the kind, like, me and my wife do it very different. I do my laundry like regularly. Like, I constantly do loads,
Yeah.
because I never, like, if I see it piled up, it makes my mind feel like, I don't even want to do it. Whereas if I do loads all the time, I'm happy. She waits until she has, like, I don't even know how she waits so long, Trinity. That's
Yeah.
why I do my own laundry in the first place, because
Yeah.
mine would be, if I didn't do my own laundry, mine would be mixed up in there. And if you see a shoe fly across and hit me, it's because she entered my studio and heard me talking and threw a shoe at my head. So, but she's a white girl. She ain't gonna do
Yeah.
that. She's not a Latina like me. You know what I mean? So she ain't gonna hit me. But anyway, the point is that she is okay with these big loads, and then it being exhausting. Like, it has to be a whole process for her to want to do laundry. Whereas me,
Yeah. You just summed up my whole dynamic here.
right, you got the same situation going on.
Yeah, my wife is a procrastinator when it comes to, like, she'll do the stuff that just makes no sense to me. She'll let things, whether it be laundry or
Right.
just whatever,
Right.
she'll let it pile up, and then she'll take like a whole weekend or a whole cleaning day,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be like she'll set aside this day, and she's gonna
Yeah.
wake up and clean everything,
Yeah.
and then she gets like exhausted by the end of the. First of all, she gets overwhelmed and doesn't want to do
Right.
it.
Right.
And then when she finally makes herself gets up and do it, then she's exhausted by the end of the night, and she wasted an entire day cleaning stuff. So at the end of the night, she's just like, "Oh gosh, it's so." Whereas me, I just take care of it all week long. Like,
Yeah.
when I see it, I just do it. Like, and my daughter's picking up those same habits, and it just doesn't make sense to
Your
me.
daughter's picking up her habits. Your habits.
Yeah, yeah. My son picks up my habits. My daughter's picking up their habits. So
Yeah,
like my
fantastic.
son, like, because my wife, she's notorious for doing this. She'll be like, "Hey, when you get a second, whenever you're done, whatever, can you take this out to the trash or something?" No matter what I'm doing, like if I'm watching a show or whatever, I pause it, I
Yep.
get up, I take
Yep.
it out, come back
Yep.
in, sit down, mind my thing. Because my mentality is I'm gonna have to do it anyways. I'd rather just do it now so I don't have to worry about it later. I don't want to be interrupted later on when I'm really fixated on something. I'll just do it now and that way it's done. Whereas my wife, on the other hand, and my daughter are both, oh, well, yeah, I'll do it later. And then later doesn't come, and then it
Right.
piles up. And then it's like this overwhelming mountain of stuff that has to be done that you have to take an entire day to do. And who wants to do that? I don't. So, yeah, you
Yeah.
just summed up literally my entire household.
Well, look, I'm not gonna lie. I am a procrastinator in a lot
Oh,
of
I'm a
things,
procrastinator, but
but
just not in like duties and chores and
not with
stuff.
those kind of things though.
Yeah, I just
Not
do
when
them.
stuff like that I know is gonna bug me, because then I'm
Yeah.
not, gonna get to
Yeah.
it. But the other thing is that when you delay, like you said, you're gonna do it anyway. What's the history there? Like, just be honest with yourself for a second, people. What's your history there when you delay? When you delay something that you know you're going to do anyway, what's the history? Is it, some of you like obsess on it for a while, so like it ruins all your good days. So you can't even have good days because you're constantly obsessed about the other. Like, some of you literally lose sleep for stuff because you know you're going to do it and got to do it, or you know you're going to have to talk to a person, see a person, talk to a person, resolve something with a person or whatever. So you lose sleep over it, all because you're delaying. And the issue is, Trinity, when they speak to somebody like you, like when anybody complains and they speak to somebody like you, the person like you looks at them like, well, why don't you just pick up the phone and call them? Oh, I can't. I don't want to. I know what the person's going to say. And like, they have all kinds of reasons and excuses why not. And you're like, but you're already creating the worst case scenario in your head. So you're actually already living out the worst case scenario.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it makes
even
no
if that
sense.
is going to happen, you're actually allowing it to happen more than once.
Yeah. Just rip the band-aid off.
Just, yeah. Like, why would you relive it over and over and over? And there's no way to understand it from either side, by the way. From either side. Because there is no right and wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do that. There's just, your way, the way you're thinking it, and other people's way, the way they're thinking it. And if you want to do it your way, fine. But you do know that you're telling us that you don't like it. You're telling the world how you wish you were doing this, or how you should be doing this, and how you could be doing, but you're not. You're telling us that. What do you want me to do as your support system? Because, like, for me, I am a professional counselor. I don't mind listening to it and help you process through it. But you know what? Your friends aren't professional counselors. They just think that they are.
Yeah, they think they are.
But so they're really getting a kick out of listening to you complaining because they're getting a kick out of it. But there comes a time where they're just sick and tired of hearing it from you. I'm telling you, you're not paying them to listen to you. You're not paying them to go through this with you, and they get sick and tired of. A matter of fact, when you call, they already know what you're going to say. They feel like they do anyway. They're living their life through you a little bit. They're getting this like weird sense of enjoyment and satisfaction, helping you through your crap, because it gets them to ignore their crap. But you could get started in moving the needle just a little bit right now, today. It's October. It's a beautiful month. October is the perfect month to start moving forward in a different direction. The weather's better. Everybody's a little bit happier. Everybody just like school already started. Like whatever kids and all, they're in that school time period. They've now made that new friend. They've now started trying to go hang out with that new friend or whatever. They're going to the football games. They're in their activities. They're doing something. So now it's us. Cooler weather, shorter day. It gets dark. Not really shorter. It's just it gets darker sooner, which my wife hates. She hates that it gets darker sooner. And she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's 7 o'clock and it's already getting dark." I'm like, okay. It's still, the day is still just as long. It just looks a little different to you. You know what I mean? But doesn't it feel better? And so whatever it is, if you start moving just a little bit and moving it, what can happen? For instance, if you would have told me that I would have 36 years right now, 36 years removed. I mean, I remember that last line of cocaine that I did. And you're telling me that if you would have told me that day that you're going to have 36 years without smoking pot and doing cocaine, I would have said, you're out of your mind. First of all, I didn't want 36 years without doing it. I would have said, no, give me something. 36 years. So can you imagine, like, you can't look at that whole, like you said, the whole elephant. You just had to not do a day, not do a minute. In between the tick and the talk, like I had a sponsor that told me a long time ago. In between the tick and the talk. Hey, Leo Rhines from St. Louis on Facebook Live. How you doing? In between the tick and the talk, just don't do it. And then next thing you know, it's 36 years later. And you're like, what, 36 years went by?
Yeah.
30, Trinity, 36. And do you believe in it? If any of my old compas see this that are still out there engaging, I have boys that are still out there doing it today, Trinity. And I'm trying to imagine to myself and go, wait a minute. You guys are still rolling like that 36 years later? How in God's creation are you doing that? And here's what it is. They don't have the same amount of supply that I was providing them 36 years ago. Because, hey, compas, if you were still doing it the way we were doing, there's no way you'd still be alive. But you guys obviously have the ability to just taste and get out. Not me. I didn't do it to taste. I did it to transform the day. I did it to transform the night. And then three days later, it'd be like, what? We've been doing this for 3 days? All right, let's get some sleep. And then get up and do it for another 3 days and then get some sleep. And then do it for another 3 days and get some sleep. I cannot imagine how life would be different if I just wouldn't have made that decision in between the tick and the talk. I wouldn't have Dana. Definitely wouldn't have Dana. Wouldn't have a Dahlia. Wouldn't have a Zoe. Wouldn't have a Maverick, a little baby Maverick. None of that would exist if I wouldn't have done it in between the tick and the talk. And let me tell you something, people. Like I said in those, you probably saw the part 5 things. I didn't even know that this was going to feel as good as it felt, Trinity. There's someone right now listening. They don't know. They don't know how good this can actually feel. They think that life is going to be boring. They think that it's going to be. It's so far from boring. It's weird how embracing life and living actually feels more like living than when I thought I was really living. I thought I was living life. I thought I was living large, and I was financial, money, and fun. But this is living differently, and it's like it's more fulfilling in a very different way. And you can relate. I know you and I have had these conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a whole different it's just a whole different experience that I didn't even know existed and didn't even know that I would like this existence. And it's all because that season was allowed to end. That season was I let it end. Could I go back to it? Absolutely. Who can't? You can always go back to your misery. Like they told me when I first came in, that says, just try it this way for a while. And if you don't like it, we can always refund you your misery. It's always still there.
Sure.
You can just go back to it if you want. And that's the beauty, people. I mean, really, if you think, I don't know if this not drinking is for me. Well, then if you don't like sobriety, you can go back to drinking. You know what that's like. If you don't like not doing drugs, I mean, you can go back to it. You know what that's like. But what you don't know is how is life without it for an extended period of time. And some of you do, but then you had some lapses and relapses, and then you're like, yeah, life was better when I wasn't, but man, I just can't. I just don't know how to get there again, man. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Or some of you say, you know what, I would do it, but it's that God thing, man. I just can't do the God thing. Yeah, you can. You're choosing not to, or you could try it another way. The God thing is one way. There's other ways, but I mean, whatever your reservations are, that's what's blocking you. You're choosing to have that block you. The point is that if you keep doing what you're doing, you see what you got, right? Look around you. You see what you got. That's it. That's what it is. And then 5 years from now, it's going to look exactly like that, except more cluttered. 10 years from now, exactly your same situation, except more cluttered. That's all. Just gets more cluttered. We've all seen a hoarder's house, right? Thank God they had that show on TV. You see what a hoarder house is, right? That's your brain. If you don't make any changes, that's your own. It may not look exactly like that, but that's how your brain is. You got all these things, and no cleansing. And the whole time you think you're doing it your way. You're doing it what you need to do. You would do it different if you just had more money, or if she would be different, or he would be different, if you had the other job or whatever. And no, it wouldn't. You got to make some serious changes, and you got to take responsibility for not making those changes. And that's what it boils down to. If you want to start making some changes, you got to call a guy like the Dharma guy. And you got to say, all right, spiritually, I'm a little vacant. I'm a little empty. I need to know what you mean. When you say spirituality, Dharma guy, what does that mean? And how can that really help me with my life? I mean, because this is me. This is who I am. Okay. Let's talk about that. Right? You got to call someone like me, counsel through the process, and just kind of like process through it, process through it. So you can see, is what you're saying actually what you're believing? Or is it the opposite? You're believing it because you keep saying it. I don't know. But what I do know is that if life is lived in seasons, then why are you stuck in the one that you're in? It's supposed to change. It's supposed to evolve. It's supposed to move. It's not supposed to be the same. That's the whole thing behind it being called a season or a chapter or a time of life. It's not supposed to be permanent. Anyway, we got to, what else is not supposed to be permanent is this show. It's supposed to move on to the next show, and I'm sure they're waiting for us to end this one, Trinity, so they can move on. So what are your final words on this subject?
Yeah, I'd say, first and foremost, be honest with yourself. Whatever these changes that you're putting off, I mean, do you genuinely want them, or are you just doing them because it sounds like the right thing to say? If you do genuinely want them, find out why, like what it is, what's your currency, what means something to you. And then finally, just implement it, man. Every day, do something to get you closer to that goal than you were yesterday. No matter how big, no matter how small, do something every single day.
Absolutely. And, and that's where it is, kids, fellas, and felines. Until then, keep rooting for Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to the game November 10th, Trinity.
Who are they playing?
Washington Commanders.
Ooh, that might actually be a good one.
My daughter Dahlia and her husband John got us tickets to the Washington Commanders in D.C. So I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go into the belly of the beast of D.C. Trinity. I'm gonna go to DC
in November, like early
in
November.
November.
Ooh.
It's a day game at least, so the sunshine is gonna try to shine on as best as it can.
I'm just talking about all the political stuff that's going to be happening because that's going to be right after the election. That's going to be a madhouse up there.
I didn't even think about
The
that.
election's
Trinity.
what, the 4th, I think it is.
I might get caught up and might go to the wrong situation, Trinity, and get like arrested for just being there.
Yeah,
Right?
it should be interesting.
November 10th in Washington, D.C. after election. You're so right. I didn't
It's
even
literally
think about
days
that.
after the election,
And
by
then I'm
then-
from Florida. And then I'm from Florida, Trinity. So
Yeah.
you automatically get tagged a certain way when you
Yeah.
you come, man. They're like, "Arr, what are you? I'm gonna go there. Have you seen my friends here? I was looking for them since January 6th. I mean,
yeah, good times.
I shouldn't joke. You can't joke about that stuff up there right now. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go watch the Washington Commanders
Nice.
lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers November 10th. So, anyway, all right. Anyway, I got nothing more to say. So go ahead, Shaw, take it away. Let the brothers, the all good brothers, take it away from here and go on into the night. Since I have nothing less to say, adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.